Hello and welcome to this latest edition of Respond Webinars, quick hits to help you use your billing software. My name is Jeremy Johnson and today we're going to talk about setting up mileage charge codes. So let's get started. First off, what is a charge code? A charge code is a way for you to program specific information into the system regarding a charge. And that way when that charge recurs on different calls throughout the course of your time with the software, all you need to do is insert that charge code into the call rather than keying in tons and tons of information every time. The charge code remembers that and saves you a lot of legwork. Now there are CMS standards for mileage that we do need to be aware of. CMS has specifically rounding rules that they want everybody to abide by. So for today's purposes, we will be using those CMS rounding rules for the code that we'll set up. Now there are outlying payers in the world that want to see different rounding rules utilized on their calls for the ones that they're going to be paying on. So in that case, you would have to set up different charge codes for those particular payers in order to get the mileage to round correctly. But again, for today, we're just going to use the CMS rules as that's the most common charge code that you're going to be dealing with. So let's go to the system here and figure out how do we set up the mileage charge code. We'll start here on codes, go down to charge, and we'll key in what we want to see in this particular charge code. Now you can put in your charge ID for whatever you want your service to utilize. Common things that people use, they might use mile or miles, or in this case for today's purposes, we're going to use the last 3 digits of the HCPC. So the HCPC for ground mileage is A0425. So we're just going to use 425 for today's charge ID. I'm going to hit tab and it prompts me to type in a description. I'll simply put in mileage or whatever again you want this to display as you're navigating through the system. Hitting the tab key again, I'll tab through these upper fields and get down here into the charge info tab where the bulk of my work is going to be for setting up this charge code. It pulls down the billing description here from what I typed in above, so that's all set. I can hit tab a couple times and go down here to the unit price. For today's purposes, we're simply going to select $12 per mile as this unit price. Again, that's going to be determined by your institution. Hitting tab again, I'm going to go over to the effective date. When do I want this particular charge code to start charging this particular price? Perhaps your service just had a board meeting and you decided from this year to next, rates will either increase or decrease. So what you can do is set up your charge codes to reflect those decisions. In this case, I'm going to present a scenario where our service had a board meeting and decided as of January 1st of 2016, our mileage charge will go from $12, hit tab again, go to $12 from $11.50. So anytime this mileage charge code is used prior to January 1st of 2016, $11.50 per mile will be charged. After that, it's going to go up to $12. So you can set this up to reflect whatever decisions or changes your institution makes. Hit the tab key a few times and then come down here to minimum quantity, enter in 1/10 of a mile. Maximum quantity, you can go up to 9,999. And then tab again to get to the rounding prompt. Now this is what we talked about previously with the CMS rounding rules. We're going to use that since again it's the most common charge code that you'll utilize. There are those outlying payers that want to see different types of rounding rules, and so there are options here for you to select per the payer that you're setting the charge code up for. Now, tab again would bring me to the payer override button, which applies more to base charges than mileage charges, so you're not going to be utilizing that in this particular case. Tab again is going to take us down to the defaults area. I'm going to set the default system ID up as a mileage charge, and then I'm going to input the HCPC for the mileage charge, A0425. If your service had air components, you'd be setting up different mileage charges for ground miles versus air miles, obviously, and so you'd be utilizing those different HCPCs for those different types of loaded miles. So that's all I need to do to set up my mileage charge code. At this point I can click save and that is ready to be used. So I'll close out of that, go up here and bring up a call. And I have a call here from Mr. Donald Duck who was transported on December 9th of 2015. Now there are already miles keyed into the call, and so I'm going to go over here to the charges tab. You can see that BLS charge is already on there. Edit, and I'm going to add my charge ID that I just created. You can look them up this way. I'm going to select 425, or you can simply key it in. And you can see here that the call had 9.2 miles at the price of $11.50 because we are still prior to January 1st of 2016 as of the date of this recording. So it applied $11.50 a mile, coming up with a $105.80 total mileage charge. I can accept that. Okay, and that now applies that charge to the call. So at that point you can save that, and then those charges would be saved onto that call. And that is how you set up and utilize a mileage charge code. Now, if you want more information on charge codes, or if you just want to update yourself or do some research, you can always go up to the help menu, to documentation, and to the billing station. And here you'll see this large table of contents with lots of great information. Today we're dealing with codes and charge codes. And you can see here a great description of charge codes, as well as lots of other very helpful information on how to set those up and utilize charge codes within the system. So that does it for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this quick video about setting up mileage charge codes. Keep an eye out on our YouTube channel, EMS Education, for further videos providing other helpful tips to help you run your billing software. And as always, thank you so much for being part of the TriTech family.